Marlon Jackson, Tito Jackson.
You know, the Lord blessed this family with a musical gift.
They're members of one of the greatest families in music history, but when you reach the top, people are always trying to knock you down.
Do you feel like you and your family have been fairly represented?
No.
No, people don't know what it's really been like.
People will say anything when you're on top.
They're the Jacksons, and to them, that simply means they're family.
Are you guys close?
Well, I'm going to put it real simple. If you want to know how close we are, try messing with one of us. And I'll leave it like that.
Guys, welcome to The Pulse. Every week we do this, talking to exciting people, making a difference, doing cool things. But today is different because we've got some kind of legends in the game. It's not that often that you get to talk to people who have had a career that just moves through generations and still doing their thing. I'm excited that we are joined by two members of the legendary Jackson family, Marlon Jackson, Tito Jackson. Join us today on The Pulse. Gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate that.
Nice to talk to you, Bill.
Was it 50 years in the game? Like, what does that feel like to be able to say we've been doing our thing for 50?
We don't think about that way because we enjoy doing what we do. When we were kids, you know, I started doing this when I was about 8 or 9 years young, and we just enjoy doing music. We enjoy performing. We enjoy doing this. And to say that, wow, it's been 50 years, have gone by so quickly, but we do appreciate the fact that the fans are still out there supporting us. So we don't take it for granted. We really appreciate their support.
And it's really nice when you're out on the road and you see a fan that you haven't seen for 20 years or so, and you see them and see how they've grown and they still enjoy the music, like Marlon said, and excited about what's going on with the Jackson brothers. So I appreciate it too.
My next question was going to be, are you still enjoying this after doing it for so long? And you both, there was no hesitation. You're doing this because this is fun.
Yes, and the thing about it is, when we were kids, what we didn't realize is that the effect that our music had on people around the world. And I say that I say that is because we was just in Australia about a year and a half ago, and some people came up to us and they started crying to us and saying, "What took you all so long to come back?" Because we was in Australia in '73 and had not come back until 2014 or something like that. And they were really upset, but they really enjoyed the show and just thanked us for coming back. And we didn't realize, you know, those type of things happen with the music that we've done over the years.
Tito, you're still just having a good time doing it?
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. Not only do I do the brothers' music, but I go out on a blues thing that I love too as well. I just enjoy playing, making music, and watching the smiles on people's face and getting happy and knowing songs and things of that nature.
Marlon, we were talking before we kind of came on the actual show. So you guys were in Tunisia, you're doing Canada, I was not aware, I was aware of all of the success you've had over the years. I wasn't aware you were still doing it like that, still traveling the world.
I think we just been blessed. You know, the Lord blessed this family with a musical gift, and we have a brand that's known all around the world. I mean, like I said, we was just in Tunisia. Got to go back to France, go to Canada, then go to Spain and Bulgaria and places like that. I mean, we just left the UK and Monaco and things of that nature. We really appreciate it, and the people appreciate it. And I think the reason why the music has lasted so long because it's family-oriented music. It's evergreen music that lasts forever. And we have kids in the audience that weren't even born when these songs were out, and they singing all the lyrics and everything. And they tell us, well, our mom grew up, raised us on you guys' music because they loved it, and now they love it. So it's a great thing to know that.
When you're young and you're in the middle of it, I don't know. I've never been in the middle of something like that. But if you're young and in the middle of it, I'd imagine it's hard to kind of soak up the impact it's having in the moment. So is it at all surprising to you that, you're having that kind of response from people, overseas, around the world this many years later?
Well, you get to respect it a lot more now that you're older age because you understand it. When you're kids, you go to a foreign city, for instance, London, you're not really thinking about the fans as much as you're thinking about going to see the Big Ben or the Hemsley Palace.
Changing of the guards or something.
Yeah, we were excited about those things because we were learning about it in school. And not only did we read about it in school, but we get to experience it. So you go back to the classroom and share your experience to the kids. And they don't believe you. Next day you come back with the pictures. And then they didn't have the internet and all these things that you trick photography.
Yeah,
quite popular the next day because we got to see the Queen's Palace and Big Ben and all these things. So,
and the thing about it is that I remember so well when I was in high school, and we went to a private school, and we were studying, British history. And next thing I know, my father tells us that the Queen wants us to come and perform for her, and that's what happened. And I remember Michael and I in the dressing room, and we heard all this noise outside. And we looked out the window, and there were a sea of horses, and all the guys were dressed so red with the gold helmets on. And there was a chariot, and then somebody blew the horn. The Queen has arrived. And the red carpet rolled out, and the Queen and the Duke walked out. And after reading about this stuff in school, then you see it firsthand with your own eyes. It was mind-boggling. And it's just a true blessing. To me, it wasn't about, releasing great music that we've released that you all call great music. It was about uniting the world together in unity and harmony and peace as one through your music. And that's what we did wherever we went around the world. And as I got older, I understand it now. That the whole purpose of it is trying to unify the world together as one in harmony and peace. And that's what it's about, because music is very powerful, a universal language.
We've always made it a point to visit the underprivileged children, and they used to love when we came by the
hospitals,
sign their autographs, take pictures, and things of that nature. So it was a good feeling of giving something back as well.
I remember one time, and this guy was telling me, because he was so excited to meet us, and he said, "You guys don't know what your music did for me." And I'm saying, "Well, what do you mean?" He said, "Back in those days, they were integrating schools. Black kids and white kids were being integrated to the same school, and we had a lot of problems. It wasn't going well for us at all around the U.S. It wasn't going well." And he said the teacher asked us to write something about our favorite group, and he said everybody wrote about the Jackson 5, the white kids, the black kids, and he said that's the first time we realized that we had something in common. And we all bonded because we all had something to talk about.
Next on The Pulse, everyone has an opinion about their lives, but most, they say, have no idea.
We don't think about growing up Jackson 5. We thought about growing up, doing music, just having fun and out there and just doing the music and seeing the people enjoy your music.
Define growing up Jackson 5?
We don't think about growing up Jackson 5. We thought about growing up, doing music, just having fun and out there and just doing the music and seeing the people enjoy your music.
I remember the Victory Tour.
1984.
the Victory Tour. Like these were, and that's kind of what I mean when I talk about the kind of growing up Jackson 5. Like you may not have understood what it was, but you had to understand you're performing in front of 100,000 people. Like what's that like for a kid?
I mean, the Victory Tour was one of the biggest tours, all stadium tour, one of the biggest tours in the world in 1984. I think we played to about 2.9 million people.
Oh, it was great. You grow up doing places like the Spectrum or the Forum in Los Angeles, so you have large 20,000 plus seating. But when you're doing 100,000 seat, you can imagine four spectrums at one show. And you have the people's attention. It's just you feel like you're accomplishing your message, and people enjoying the song.
Our music have always delivered a positive message.
Mm-hmm.
It always talked about trying to bring people together. Let me show you the way to go. Written by Gamble and Huff, Kenny Gamble, Philly people, and Leon Huff. Can you feel it? The songs that we sing. Michael's doing these "Heal the World." I mean, Tito got a new song called "Love One Another." So all those were positive driven message, trying to unify the world, because that's the most important thing.
You guys share a very positive story about your experiences and the things that you've done and the impact that you've had in music and how you're received traveling and what have you. Do you feel like you and your family have been fairly represented? Do people know what it's really been like?
No,
No, people don't know what it's really been like. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. We worked very hard as kids before Motown. We were traveling around Gary, Indiana, and Wisconsin, and Illinois, and coming down to Philly. We did we used to in Chicago High Chaparral, the Spectrum in Philly. I mean, not the Spectrum. What's the theater in Philly too that we used to?
Uptown.
Yeah, Uptown Theater in Philly. These are back in the days, and before you know it, people started hearing this name Jackson Five, and then Motown got wind of us, and from that it just kept going.
No, they don't know the real story, especially with all the negative that has gone around. That's been well twisted, and I just wish they had been there part of it before they say anything. People will say anything when you're on top. Everybody loves to start when he's on the top, but nobody comes around when he starts to drop. It seems like sometimes the media and the press builds you up to tear you down, and we experienced all those type of things.
I think we as people, what we forget is that the Lord created us all equal. And we weren't put on this earth to judge one another. We were put here to love one another and help one another. But we now get caught up because we think that controversy sells. But what about all the great things that these celebrities and other people do that never get recognized because all this controversial stuff gets in the way? Let's talk about all the great things that people do.
Coming up, their brother Michael was one of the best known performers ever. Best known, but Tito says misunderstood.
Brother Michael was doing things that was unheard of, in show business, especially for young black men, and a lot of people didn't understand it.
Up there performing all the songs we know. You're still up there kind of doing the dance moves. Like, walk us through what a performance is like with you guys now.
We try to cover all the hit records, and we try to bring the audience in with us and have a Jackson party on stage. That's all it's about, just having fun on stage. Let the people know that, hey, we do appreciate your support over all these years, and so now it's time to celebrate.
I can see it between you two. Obviously, I just met you as we got started. But it sounds like you guys, and again, this is one of those things, Tito, you touched on, the public generally doesn't know. Are you guys close? Were you close, or when are you one of those those stage families that comes together to perform, but behind the scenes, not so much?
No, we're very close, and we have children that play together, and we visit each other. We have our Jackson Family Day and our gatherings, and we make sure that we keep all that going. And as you know, my mother's up in senior age, so we make sure that she still enjoy her family and gets to see it. So we have to stay together.
Well, I'm gonna put it real simple. If you want to know how close we are, try messing with one of us.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll leave it like that.
We're a lot closer than some of the media try to make it seem like. And if they hear a negative story, they run with it. Boy, do they run with it. And it may not even be close to true, you know. So we have to weed through all that and continue down the journey.
You know, Marlon, you said you want to find out how close you guys are, mess with one of us. But at the same time, people have. You know, people have said things, people have put things out there. Was it ever hard through that process? Because you can't fight every battle. You know, so you're watching things being said that may not necessarily be true, but they're still being said.
You learn to deal with it, and you learn how to navigate around it. But in your heart, you know what's true and what's not true, and the Lord knows what's true and what's not true. And to me, that's the most important thing of all.
10, 13 years, FBI investigating my brother, didn't find anything. You didn't know that then Tom Steadden comes later and try to make something up. You know, it's crazy, you know. So, and he was, he won all the cases, every one of them. And you still would get people behind that, still try to make things true. So we're going to keep on doing.
You know, the bottom line is that it's all about the money. It's all about your bottom line, and they know controversy sells, even if it's true or not true. Is that once they reach those numbers, then they fade away from it.
Brother Michael was doing things that was unheard of, you know, in show business, especially for young Black men, and a lot of people didn't understand it. So you don't understand things. The next thing you do is try to hurt it, you know.
Next, on The Pulse, how the Jacksons use their voice for good.
Tell us what is study peace?
If I can get people to wear stuff that says study peace, I think people start gravitating subconsciously without even realizing it to a more peaceful environment and want to see people do well.
Coming to Philly, actually doing a one night kind of exclusive. It's a charitable event. Tell us why doing something like that is important to you.
That's a part of giving back, showing that you do appreciate what people have done for you throughout the world and supporting your music. And this is me giving back to that and helping in another way.
We're going to make sure we put up on screen so everybody can get tickets for that one night event here in Philadelphia. The fundraiser. What should people know about you that they don't?
Just we're no different than anybody else. You know, we're all the same. It's just that we've had some hit records and put out some music, but that doesn't make us any different than anybody else. You know, we bleed, we cry, we have feelings just like they do, and and we get hurt just like they do. So it's just that we just had the chance to travel this globe and experience the various cultures the world has to offer, which I think everybody should try to do once they get a chance, because your perspective on the world, on life will change in a different way. And you'll find out that a lot of stuff is not what they really say it is. There's a lot of great people out in the world that want the same thing that you want, and that's harmony and peace.
We end every episode of The Pulse. The whole point of The Pulse is we try to give people a chance to, in quotes, use their voice for good. So, Marlon, this time I'm going to start with you. You've been wearing this hat the entire interview. Tell us what is study peace?
It's about trying to bring awareness to people, not just domestically, but internationally, about peace. It's time, you know, what the world is doing now. They've been doing this for years and years and centuries and centuries. How about changing the course? And let's try to look at it from a more peaceful angle and do things. And if I can get people to wear stuff that says study peace, like the song that Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff wrote, Man of War, Study Peace, I think people start gravitating subconsciously without even realizing it to a more peaceful environment and want to see people do well.
Tito, you get the last use your voice for good comment. What do you want people to know about using your voice for good? What message do you want to leave them with as we wrap up?
Well, if you have a positive message to spread to the world, such as love and peace and things of that nature, you have to speak out for it, because God gave you that gift to spread the word. And that's what we try to do, spread the word. And this show seems to give that opportunity, and I hope the world can come together and wars can stop. You feel better about helping somebody do something than hurting them. So I try to help people.
Gentlemen, I thank you for 50 years of performances, of music, of success. We appreciate you coming to Philadelphia. Our national audience can also see you because you're still touring, still all around. So thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you spreading the message. I appreciate your years of what you've done.
We don't take it for granted. We do thank you all.
So thank you so much once again for watching The Pulse. Spending some time with two members of such a legendary family was really cool to kind of get their insight and excitement, their experiences, and I hope you really enjoyed hearing from them. We always remind you that if you would like the full interview, you can go ahead and subscribe and get it all places where podcasts are available. We certainly appreciate you doing that. And we like to leave you by saying, whenever you can, use your voice for good, and have a good one.